Welcome to A Peasant's Voice with artist activist Justin John Sheck, covering the months of April and May 2025. I had some health issues and had to step away, but I'm back. And I don't want to get lost in the weeds because that's, Donald Trump, as Steve Bannon says, you flood the zone with shit. So you just do an overwhelming amount of things, and the media can't keep up because it's not designed to. We have cartoon media. You get about the format, except for PBS and Democracy Now! And things that you have to seek out. Other things you have to seek out, like Democracy Now! Or frankly, The Daily Show is brilliant at pointing out hypocrisy and corruption and the corruption of institutions, right? And how they're corrupted, not just silly ideas about the deep state and things, but what's really going on. And if you define deep state in different ways, I understand maybe there is such a thing and it's defined a certain way, but there's so many different, everything's gray now. There's no longer, to make gray, everybody's like, nothing's real, that's all opinion. Well, that's because of the way the media is designed. So everybody is just giving, nobody gives you the historical relevancy. See, the genocide in Afghanistan, that's going on. It's the starvation now. Now, that's been going on for years. They get 2 hours of electricity a day. They're trapped between Egypt, they can't cross that border, and Israel. So it's a concentration camp. And in that concentration camp, there's no economy because there's so many sanctions. They're not allowed to trade. They have no resources, really. So they're given water and electricity by Israel to stay alive. But in exchange, we murder you whenever we want. We kill you. We kill as many of you as we want. And if you retaliate, we'll commit a genocide against you because we can't have that, right? You can't. Now understand, this wasn't an army that attacked. This isn't an army that attacked Israel. This isn't a declaration of war. This is a terrorist act, and I understand that maybe the ruse is that this is justified, so just shut up and take it. It's war crimes to starve a nation, to bomb their dams, their churches, their hospitals, their schools, their homes, kill. How many soldiers did they kill? Zero, because there are none. There's just some guys with guns. How'd they get them? I don't know. They're strapped, and they can't trade. So, so obviously Iran is outraged by this fact, right? Justifiably. If you look at it from the Star Wars perspective, we're the empire that is oppressing them. So what's our solution? We'll make it a vacation resort. You think the Arab nation isn't going to call us the great Satan when the president of the United States wants to commit genocide, exile, and then turn your country, your sacred religious land, spiritual land, into a resort for white rich people? This is just like a bad television show. And it's so unjust and disgusting, and Biden screwed up by not just ending we need Israel because they're our only bulldog in the Middle East. Their military is armed and trained by us. They have a nuke from us. No one else is allowed a nuke. You know what happens every year at the UN? Every nation in Arab land votes we agreed to not have a nuke as long as Israel on arms. That means all the Middle East on arms. And who vetoes it every year? The US. And then what's the US do? They say, Iran wants a nuke. We got to take them out. Well, we're just doing Israel's bidding because they're our ally, and they just have it. They're just a genocidal, racist run. I'm not saying the Israeli people, but Netanyahu. This is what happens when a vicious monster takes over. Netanyahu can do whatever he wants. He's a soulless monster who's decided Israel is all, they've been. This isn't the first invasion, right? They've been encroaching. They call them settlements. What's that? It's just stealing their land. It's just the same thing we did to the Native Americans, the Trail of Tears. Move over there. Move a little bit more. Move a little bit more. Shut up and move more west. Shut up and move more west. We need that. We're ignoring that treaty, that one we signed. We need it now. Shut up. Sign the new treaty. Move. Get out. And then you're in the ocean, and there's nobody's left, and you're on reservations, and you have no economy and no resources because we give you the shittiest land. Well, and then they're like, be self-reliant. Well, then we don't give them plumbing because they don't pay taxes. So they don't get plumbing or electricity. They have to provide it for themselves. So when they say, please don't build a pipeline right next to our water supply, and all the people in North Dakota that I'm surrounded by say, he's stupid. I root for big business and pollution and destroying. Well, are you going to give them water? Are you going to stand for black oil coming out of your shower one day? It's not coming through your neighborhood and your community and threatening your water source. Can you put this lack of empathy, this lack of, it's not sympathy. Sympathy is when is everybody's got. I've been through it, so I know how you feel. Empathy is someone going through something you haven't been through and you still feeling for them. Understanding, putting yourself in their shoes, seeing their perspective. Walk a mile in their shoes, they say. All these great proverbs. Walk a mile in a man's shoes before you say anything bad about him. This solidarity that we felt after World War II, this togetherness, Social Security, the economic Bill of Rights discussion, the right to leisure time, the right to a living wage. A living wage. That's what we designed a minimum wage. The minimum wage was a living wage. They just changed it to minimum, changed the language, and you can hoodwink the people. Now, if it's a living wage, if it's called the living wage rate, then 30% of your income should go to housing. End of story. That's it. If 30% of your income is going to housing and you have 70% left over to pay your bills and pay for your needs and your leisure time and your vacations, because you go crazy. You got to get off into the forest and feel the spirituality of the way we lived for 150,000 years. You got to return, meditate on feel this connection with the others. Then all of a sudden, when you tell someone, guess what? Medicare for all doesn't just do that. It's cheaper and more effective. This is what I mean. If I have diabetes and you don't give me $35 worth of insulin today, now I need an amputation. I go to the hospital. I have no insurance. Who absorbs that? The hospital. Then they pass on the bill to you in the form of a $4,000 eye drop when you go into the emergency room. Come on. You give them the $35 of insulin so you don't have to pay for their hundreds of thousands of dollars of their amputation and rehab. And you don't have to pay for supporting them on their diabetic coma, which could last. Oh, it's just buffoonery. You spend $35 on someone to save hundreds, millions of dollars down the line, billions of dollars down the line, trillions of dollars down the line. It's cheaper and more effective. More lives will be saved. Everyone will be healthy. Mental health care for all. You want to stop school shootings? Put a mental health counselor in every school. There are triggers. There are signs. They draw these experiences. They talk about them. You have to have a professional who recognizes who is who and can remove who they need to remove from a situation and work with them to find out. They confess these things. We've stopped several shootings, not with a good guy with a gun. They don't run in because they're cowards, right? The good guy can be a coward and he can shoot an innocent person accidentally. And have you ever seen the Wild West? Do you think that was safe? Everybody's got a gun. It's safer. Was the Wild West the safe place to go? Come on. If I had a nuke, no one would fuck with me. No, some drunk asshole would set it off. Or some asshole on PCP that can get a gun. Because there's no standards and no background checks. He could just go to a gun show and he doesn't need a background check. He You can just buy whatever fun murdering, and they're all 18-year-old kids who buy them on a credit card and have never shot one before or whatever. Usually, there's all these signs. People say the government's giving them the guns to set it up. Because how does he pay that? How does he pay for those guns? He doesn't have a job. He uses a credit card because he's 18 and he just got one and he's not going to pay it back because he knows he'll be dead or in jail. Put yourself in someone else's shoes. Walk a mile in their shoes. He wants to go in there and die. You think a metal detector is going to stop him? He don't care if it goes off. The first person he just wants to shoot is the off-guard security guard who doesn't see it coming. Right by the. So he walks through, it goes off, and he shoots the security guard in the head. Now it's over. Now he can just, come on, this stuff is this good guy with a gun. No, the triggers and the signs will stop him before. And not let them own guns. They have guns, other guns in the house. Make sure they have a gun safe or take the guns away from the father. Right? There's ways to do this. I'm off track. April and May. I don't want to get lost in the weeds because Donald Trump has flooded the zone with shit. What I want to talk about is the genocide in Palestine. The obvious bribe, the favors he's already doing for other countries. He's a big, strong man who says the Palestinians will receive hell if they don't release the hostages. And then he's like, Israel isn't listening to me, but this guy's he bought me a plane I asked him to buy. And what does he do? Changes his policy. You got to feed these starving people. Oh my God. It's obvious. It's cause and effect. It's transactional. It's just obvious. And half the country's aware. The leftists and moderates are aware because they don't consume this propaganda that doesn't tell you the whole story and only tells you good things about Republicans and bad things about Democrats, and creates not just that, they make us evil. The discussion isn't what we should do conservation or climate change or electric clean energy is conservation, and we want to protect our rivers and the hunting, and you want clean rivers again and beautiful forests and a flush deer and elk and all, plentiful populations of these animals so that you can, anyway, then you save the earth. Now, that's not the discussion. The discussion is there's space lasers from Jews that are causing it. That there's, even though there's been electricity on ships for like 100 years, he thinks that now you might be electrocuted or eaten by a shark. There's always been electricity. Nobody gets electrocuted or eaten by the shark. That's just a fictional story. And there was no one around him that had the balls to tell him that's the stupidest shit, don't repeat it. He just kept repeating it. This is the debate. They're not playing fair. They're not playing real. They're not having it. You kill babies after they're born. What are you talking about? That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about a mother having a miscarriage that dies and bleeds out in the car because of your theocratic government. This is theocracy. And why is this? Because the Republicans needed votes. They're like, we can get the evangelical vote. So they flipped overnight. They were pro-choice until they were pro-life, we'll call it. That means the other side's death, right? It's not death. It's not conscious. It's a fetus. It's not conscious. The harm is consciousness. Once the brain melts, your soul leaves, in my opinion. Unless you're making the brain dead person stay alive. Maybe the soul's trapped now in hell, and that's what the hell is. But your consciousness is your reality. I think, therefore I am. If you can't think, you're not. This is where the soul exists, in my opinion. Anyway, so the bribery, the genocide that's been taking place slowly and now is sped up, and as the world looks the other way. I mean, the world is listening, but they'll hear, well, that leads perfectly into the end of free speech. If you take the rights of an immigrant, my rights are threatened. If you take due process and send innocent men to El Salvadorian prisons, which is that's just unheard of. You go to this prison, my country, your country, did they commit a crime? No, so we can't send them to a prison here, so let's send them to a prison over there. What? And if they speak out against Israel or me, they're my enemy, and I will support them next, is what he said. And he's also said we're trying to get Stephen Miller in April and May said we're trying to get due process suspended, habeas corpus suspended, so the Mad King can just arrest all of his enemies and pardon all the vicious, seditious conspiracists who stormed the Capitol with the intent of overthrowing the government. Maybe the other people were just on a tourist thing that got caught up, and I get it, because mobs have one brain, and they were communicating to Trump through Twitter. You know, they didn't start chanting "Hang Mike Pence" until they started sharing the information that Trump said that Mike Pence didn't have the courage, and he almost got him murdered. If he got him murdered, the Republicans would have said that enough is enough, but they're cowards and they wanted their power, so they sold their soul to the devil, and here we go. But anyway, it's the end of free speech. Now, if you spend habeas corpus and free speech, it's a full-blown, it's an end game. That's dictatorship. That's North Korea. Pretty soon, Trump will have no butthole like Kim Jong-un. Can you imagine these buffoon dictators? That's what they think of. I'm ashamed of shitting. It's embarrassing to me. Tell the people I have no butthole. I mean, come on. Holy shit, they're stupid clowns, empty souls. Just empty. I grab women by the pussy because I'm so rich and powerful. You isn't that cool? Don't you like me more now? What a buffoon. I mean, to be so, first you're violating women, bragging about how you can get away with it because you're rich and powerful, which is like the definition of the bad guy in the movie. The rich and powerful guy that can violate women. That's just always the why, you know, if it wasn't for the media on the right, then there's right-wing media and bullshit Democratic propaganda media, Democratic corporate, not progressive. See, I'm a progressive. I'm a FDR New Deal Democrat. I'm an FDR Democrat. FDR was a progressive. He self-proclaimed, and we elected him 4 times because we liked that he got us out of the Great Depression with his policies to help the worker and not the owner. His socialist policies. That's all social. All that Carl Jung said was the world's got to unite and unionize, or they'll pit worker against worker until you have nothing left and they accept the debt. That's all Carl Jung said, and everybody's like, that's true. So shut him up. He's evil. Maybe he was, because communism sucks and is just as evil, because it's always a nut job that gets elected and then just holds on to power and then becomes a dictator, like Trump. Like, give me all power and I'll protect us. That's just, absolute power corrupts absolutely. You can't, you know. I can't remember who said that, but it's rung true all throughout the ages. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. You can't, you need checks. Everybody needs checks and balances. The Constitution is designed for that. Well, all checks and balances have been removed because the Supreme Court told them, you got to get this innocent man back from the El Salvadorian prison, and Trump is just like, can't do it. What? So Trump, if he doesn't have to, if he can ignore the courts and Congress is owned, and he controls the greatest military in the history of the world. He learned you know what happens after failed coups? Successful coups. Because the first time around, he learned the levers of power that held him back, and he removed them with the yes men. This will not end well. Like I said, I don't want to get caught in the weeds and talk about every single little thing that happened. The overall scheme here is that fascism it's the fascist plan. It's how all fascists take over. Read about it. Study it. Because you can predict what's going to happen next and what can be done to stop it. The Democratic Party It's not an opposition party. It's obvious they've decided their plan is to let him do whatever he wants until the people are fed up. His supporters will never be fed up. They think they're to not remove the state-run television. That now it's not state-run because when a Democrat's in office, nothing's good. Everything sucks because immigrants are invading, and you rile the people up about other poor working class people to keep the eye off the ball, right? So you need a scapegoat. The dirty, you saw gangs in New York. The dirty Irish are coming and they're bringing disease and they're criminals and they're from insane asylums and we gotta kill them and they're taking our jobs. Everybody loves the Irish. Everybody loves St. Patrick's Day. It's just how it goes. This is just historically accurate how fascism has always worked. You need a scapegoat and then when your policies, of course, suck and don't do well, you got to find a new scapegoat that caused that, and then they're the next people that are in the new scapegoats. Everybody's going to be Antifa soon. He'll just claim Antifa a terrorist organization, and then anyone that's Antifa, which doesn't have any leadership. It's not a collected organization. It's a bunch of like-minded people that don't meet, that get called Antifa because they're angry about fascism and racism on the rise. So anyone who's angry about fascism and racism is first of all, they're never going to admit they're fascist, right? So anyone calling the great leader, the dear leader who loves us, a fascist and a racist is Antifa now. That'll soon be what it is. Anyone who's making waves, and if there's another Dr. King or Malcolm X or then you're gonna have they'll be probably taken to Guantanamo Bay and tortured, and broken and filmed, So we'll see. God love us. God, goodness help us, right? Goodness help us. To all those that don't use the word God, goodness help us. That's all I have to say. Now, what can we do? The steps of fascism. The next step is to you got to expand the state. The next step is to expand the amount of scapegoats. You got to lump the leftists are as crazy and they're as crazy and harmful for the country as the immigrants. And he has said that he has said out loud that we're going to deport leftists next. We're going to deport these radicals, Americans. You just deport it to a new. You don't get any money in your pocket. All these people we're deporting to other countries. What are they going to do? They're homeless. They have no job. They don't speak the language. They have no money in their pocket. They have one pair of clothes. They're going to be dirty and gross soon. They're shitting in the street. They're eating out of dumpsters while they try to get back to their country. That's the reality of what we're doing. And he's trying to scare people so much that they'll just stop coming. And people will stop visiting. People will stop touring here. We'll lose all our tourism. We'll lose, this will not end well, I promise you. So I just want to keep it short and simple. That's what's going on. This show is evolving to be more about history, how it repeats itself, and what's happening in end days fascism. Now, end days fascism is a phrase coined. End days fascism was the last episode, but I never got to it because I was so embarrassed about the rollout and my behavior and the fact that I lost myself. I've dedicated the project started. It's called the Blue Collar Diaries. I created 4 concept albums about life and love, and America's covered in the coming album, Fascist Addict, the current America, and the old America, when it's relevant, the historical points that are relevant to today. Anyway, what's odd here is there's no opposition party this time. Their plan is to just let him implode, but he's not going to. He's going to win because he already owns it. It is. I went to church the other day trying to have a little more community, see what it was about. And I've met two friends that I really like, but I don't like their church. I feel they were talking about Trump, and it was just weird. It was just like I turned out that it was a little evangelical Baptist. I didn't know it was evangelical. Not to criticize all evangelicals, but evangelical used to mean bringer of truth. Now it means judgmental. Wants to bring about the end of the world. If you're not one of us, you're a fool and not worth our time. No mercy, judgment. Not much mercy. I heard in a sermon, not my friends, but I just saw Christian heretics and hypocrites. So false prophets, right? All that they see, they don't know they're the false prophets, but that's predicted in Revelations. These guys that have $1 million, $1 billion in their portfolio in stocks or whatever, they got a private jet. They're preaching the word of a man who walked the earth in poverty. They're God, and they're like, I flew here in my golden jet to tell you that a rich man can get to heaven a lot easier than put. What is it? Threading a camel through the eye of a needle. That's the quote from Jesus. But the irony and the hypocrisy is lost on the congregation, and it's sad. It's sad. I hope they find truth. They're supposed to be bringers of truth, but they don't have it on their side, in my opinion. So they've aligned with Trump. He's a genius. He did, in their minds, save the lives of babies, not end the lives of mothers, but future mothers, or mothers that aren't going to be mothers and are just suffering a miscarriage or any kind of tragedy. Bad. Your baby is not going to make it. What do you want us to do? It's only been a month or 4 weeks or whatever. Anyway, it's not blood running through veins. You can do that and you'll always just have a limp body. So it's not the heartbeat, it's the consciousness. But anyway, that's my opinion. So there's a late point, and there's a late point we do not cross. Nobody's killing babies in the third trimester. Nobody. You want to draw the line where the trimester should be? I'm fine with that. But to change the conversation like they always do to some radical bullshit, the third semester, no presidential candidate has known this yet because they just don't say it, but it just doesn't happen. It happens like it's 0.1% of the time, which saves the mother's life, and the baby is not going to make it. That's the situation. It's like when anyway. So the evangelicals have somehow gotten together with the billionaires, right? The billionaire class, the Mar-a-Lago class. What does everybody think he's doing? Every weekend he goes and discusses things with his billionaire friends. Oh, he's not telling them inside information. He's supposed to be in Washington doing the business of the people, but he's in Mar-a-Lago doing the business of the 0.1%. Right? And then he plays this monster. He is a monster, but he plays this. He's started to believe all these things because the left is so mean to him. They got to be evil. Jesus. Anyway, if anyone saw the Raw to the show, I think you'll find it very different. This is what I wanted to present. I had some health issues. I apologize, but it might happen again. You'll notice sometimes I'm viscerally angry. Now, to be angry at the wrong people is embarrassing, sad. And I have moderate friends that I love, but I didn't articulate. It's a moderate Democrat is what was a moderate Republican in the 90s, and a Democrat, or a moderate Republican in the 80s, and a Democrat is a true leftist, progressive, is what a Democrat was in the 80s. See, we moved together so far to the right that the common sense left is now radical. The moderates, who are just moderate Republicans of old, of history, of historical, not just the 80s, the moderate Republicans that we used to know before they became a rogue, not a political organization, but a rogue organization that refused to negotiate and compromise and do policy work, to only serve the 0.1% and to appease the masses with their cultural wishes, their cultural insecurities about the future. It's always been about that. You don't like gays, neither do we. You don't like, we'll just hint at it. Trump had a bullhorn. You don't like black people. So the Republican Party's been rallying this base all along, the gun rights activists. So, of course, you got the militias on your side, the bikers, like Trump says, all the bikers, all the tough people, they say, who look up to, they think a bully's an alpha. I think a bully's a coward. I wouldn't look up to a son of a bitch like that. But people do. It's just a very hegemonic world. We look up to leaders. We look up a lot at people that are on television or saying or whatever. It's embarrassing. But it's just a natural phenomenon that happens to some people of a certain personality type. Then there's the leftists who tear down their leaders. And that's healthier, but not good. You shouldn't be tearing down everything. So you got to see the good, the bad, and just relax. But this is the game. This is the system that's been created that we're functioning in. So the Republicans don't want to do anything but tax cuts, really, and cut off services. You see, if you defund services, they don't work well, and then you can say, see, they don't work, let's get rid of them. That's just the standard. That's austerity. That's just the standard historical business propaganda. Because they don't want to pay anything in taxes. They're not happy until they're paying nothing. And I'm not talking about workers. Anybody who's working and even if you make $10 million a year, I mean, I get it. That's a lot, but it's not. A difference between a million. It's like a million is like 4 days. A million seconds is like 4 days, and a billion seconds is like hundreds of years or something. I can't remember. I'm getting it wrong, but look it up. A billion is a lot more. A billion is like 999,999,000. It goes. It can't stack. You can't comprehend it. So when somebody makes 50 billion in stocks in a year, it's unsustainable. You can't take that much of the resources. You can't take that much put it in a tax haven so it's not taxed, and leave it there so that trillions of dollars are just sitting in tax havens. Well, why are we trillions in debt? Well, how many trillions are in tax havens? I wonder. Because they don't want to pay for services, and they shifted the burden of sustaining society onto the working class. But if you own stocks only, and you just, all of your time is leisure time, but your stocks give you the billions, then, I mean, like the Walmart kids, they're not smart people. They're just born into it. And we used to understand there was everyone agreed you got to work for what you own, so we'll do an estate tax after death, and then they remove it for them. That's how they pass on the wealth now. So it's over. There's just going to be little lords and kings from here on out unless we do something about it. And that's what my album's about. It's about what's going on and how we can do something about it. That's what this podcast is going to be about for a while. The relevance of fascism. So end days fascism. So anyway, so the billionaires align with these cultural insecure people that fear change and so on, and fear difference. You can change fear into hate and resentment real easy if you catch it first. If you meet someone one-on-one and you interact and you see they're a good person, your fears lessen. If you see the television and everything, it's like nobody has empathy that the guys got murdered for something that's punishable by a small fine, that we executed. You get supposed to have a trial, a judge, and a jury. He just got executed for making a left without a blinker. Then, I mean, maybe he resisted arrest even because he panicked or something. But what you do, I get it. My father would panic if they arrested him. He's got severe PTSD. He was in Vietnam for 2 tours. They put him in cuffs. I don't know what. They would try to put him in cuffs and just restrain. I don't know what he would do. So anyway, I get it. Maybe he had a panic attack. That's not a death sentence. Don't tell me he deserves what. It's all called off after that. You can do whatever you want. It's still a citizen of the society that committed a crime. Now he's got resisting arrest, and he'll go to jail, not killed and beat up in jail, bloodied. And you just hear about the ones that die. That the people that are just destroyed and then thrown in the wagon. Those numbers are just fascinatingly high and disgustingly high, I should say. My goodness, what are we gonna do? What are we going to do? I think so. We study fascism. We understand what's going to happen next. We prepare for it. We protest it. Since there's no opposition party and no leader, there's no protests. All the movements that were aligned in end days fascism, I'll finish another time with the description, but I can't remember her name, the writer that coined the phrase. But it's different than normal fascism, because these people, in other words, I got to finish now, actually. These people want the end. They're Christian fanatics, and they want the end of the world. These billionaire, you got Elon trying to kill the woke mind. He thinks his daughter, who was born a boy, it was corrupted by the woke mind. Then is he so stupid that he doesn't know that transvestites have existed since the beginning of time? I mean, how dumb. There was woke around. Hey, the first word in the human language was woke. All the other, then everything else was old Latin, or Aramaic. But they also had woke in that old Aramaic. What a buffoon. God, he's stupid. You know what Elon Musk does? Elon Musk is such a genius that he bought Tesla. The only thing he created at Tesla that wasn't already in the works and there or built and created by other geniuses that actually went to school and became engineers, that he hired, and yells at and doesn't pay right, works to death because he's a monster, idiot, and thinks he's a genius. He's always on ketamine, right? So they brought him this, and he has no soul, and he's absurd, and he's insecure. So anyway, I know the guy who designed the truck, the Cybertruck, brought him something different that was beautiful, probably, and he took a bunch of ketamine. He's like, no, make it a V. Make it a V, man. Yeah, genius. I'm a genius. Do it. That's what happened. So this guy's just an ass clown. And then, of course, it falls apart and he has to recall it. That's the only thing he's created. Everything else he bought. I don't know. I'm just criticizing him because you don't deserve billions of dollars if you're a disgusting human who tried to fire all my working class brothers and did. And so on. It's just fucking. He's just a monster and he's an idiot and he didn't earn it. He bought it. So what that he bought successful businesses that were already successful and they became more successful? The hell, anybody can do that. He just lucked into all the money that comes with that style of life. I get it. If you're a risk taker and a leader, and he deserves that. But that's it. That doesn't make you a genius. He just got lucky. He went on the internet and he's like, the internet's new. It was created by the government. I've never paid taxes. How can I make money off the government? I want the government to do my bidding. Oh, they created the internet. Oh, well, hey, is there anybody that handles money on the internet? Everybody's got to handle money on the internet. Oh, there's PayPal. I'll buy it with my parents' money. That's what happened. What's genius about that? That's privilege. Diamond privilege. Rich parents privilege. White privilege. And he wants the genocide of white people in South Africa to end. He's obviously a segregationist who's loving this Trump stuff. and hating the woke mind that's trying to put an end to that nonsense. You know what being woke is? Being woke means you're aware of historical accuracies that inform today. So the systemic racism has always been and is still ongoing. And it holds people back, good people back, smart people back, superior sometimes people back, right? If DEI, listen to this, right? DEI to them means all black people are stupid and minorities and gays and, I use the word gays, LGBT community. So if they're in a good position right now, they must have gotten it by cheating or giving it on they didn't look at their reviews that were all glowing. You know how hard it is to rise if you're a minority, because everyone has already got this stigma in the back of their brain. That's what DEI undoes, is the stigma in the back of the brain that says I'm only going to hire white people because they're smarter. That's a real boss phenomenon. I'm only going to hire people that look like me because I can trust them better. That's just these cultural differences might get in the way. They rationalize not the quality and character and experience and intelligence, but what they feel are innate weaknesses. They got that like that nut job slave owner in Quentin Tarantino's work in the great film Django. They got a part of the back of their brain that's, they think crazy things. They're submissive, and that's why oh my God, it's crazy. So that's informing policy. Fictional things are informing policy here. DEI makes sure that the most qualified person is promoted, even if they're different. And it's not been done usually. That's what DEI does. It creates empathy, not sympathy, empathy and sensitivity and decency in interactions. Now, I didn't hear that in this church I was in. I was heard if you are one of us and do and think like we are, how we interpret the Bible, well, I know he speaks from the flesh. And Jesus' words, he spoke from God who sent him. That's how I interpret. That's how I believe. And I don't care. I get it. If you're a Buddhist and a good person, you're going to heaven or nirvana or whatever. It's about decency and morality and goodness and love and empathy and believing there's something greater than yourself. That's all. That's just spirituality against religion. Religion is what Jesus was against, right? I don't want to get enough on theocracy. I'm just been on my mind. But not theocracy, theology, I mean. But theocracy is interesting. That's an interesting word because the Project 2025 has been the Heritage Foundation's publications. That's the Koch brothers think tank. They take the billions they made in oil and they create think tanks full of geniuses that designed to take over the country and make it owned by the 0.1% or better. They're not happy with the 90% of wealth they got, of the shared wealth. We all, 80% of us. I think it's like the bottom 40% of the population is access to 0.43% of the wealth. That's how miserable things are. So once you know that, if you don't have empathy, you don't care, I guess. I don't know. Because you've never been in that situation. You guess because you don't know what that means. But I gotta sign off because I don't want to get lost in the weeds, and I think I've covered what I want to cover. If I forgot anything, I apologize. April and May was why.